what's up? It's your boy, HTownSwanga. We're out here live again at Axelrad, the most electric open mic in Houston, Texas. And we're doing something a little bit different today because rather than, showcase a whole bunch of other artists, I'm actually here with one artist today, and that is the amazing, the incredible Marley Moon. And we're just going to focus on a few things. She has a new album coming out October 21st, Everything Is Real, and so we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but as for right now, we just want to find out a little bit, tell us, who is Marley Moon?
Well, that's a loaded question. For one, I'm an Aries, so that's that. If you know what that means, you do. If you don't know what that means, you don't. I've been singing for all my life. I started taking guitar lessons when I was 11, didn't apply myself. You know how it goes. I just wanted to be Taylor Swift. And in high school, I really wanted to go to Berklee College of Music, so my first real step into what I thought I wanted was doing the 5-week program the summer before senior year. Auditioned for Berklee, didn't get in.
Aww.
It was the only college I applied to. It was the only college I was going to go to. So my family was like, apply to more colleges. I was like, no. And I just waited until I could apply again. And then I got in, and it started off cool. And then it was...
At Berklee College of Music. In New York?
In Boston.
In Boston?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So went there for a while, and that's where I met my friends Matt, Blaze, Mahima, Sophie, and we started Marley Moon there.
In Boston.
It really started with my friend Matt, who we met at a place that was called the Track Shack, and I was on acid, and I knew of him, and I guess he knew of me, but we had never really met before, and we met. He said he was from Texas. I was like, no shit, where? He said he was from Houston, and I was like, oh my God! And even though a lot of his friends didn't like me for reasons I will not get into, when he was in Thanksgiving, we met up at an open mic, and he asked if he could just play with me during my set. And I played the first song that I had written, it was Blue Lagoon, off the EP. And he was like, hey, start a band, I want to be in it. And we got back to Boston, and we co-wrote a song, and then that was the beginning of a friendship that, is still really strong to this day. And he's, helped me cultivate my songwriting a lot. And then I left Boston, and it was bad. And then I started playing again and writing again after not writing for a long time. Recorded the last EP and then wrote a shit ton of songs, and that's where the album came from.
That is a really, really, really cool story.
It's not.
I guess it's not. No, it's not. But I mean, sometimes you do have to deal with a little bit of failure. Not getting into Berklee School of Music and then
dropping out.
And then ultimately just dropping out.
Yeah.
Oh. And skipping over that, going into your sound, I know that, Marley Moon, because I've seen you perform at the open mics, and, beautiful voice, beautiful guitar player, but Marley Moon, the sound that you hear, the recorded sound, is a very, very big producer.
Yeah.
Tell us something about your producers, or, the artists that you play with, or, where did you get, especially on the first album, where did you get the help from to record that, or how much of you is recorded? What are you playing on the album?
So, for the album or the EP?
For the EP, I'm sorry, the EP.
So for the EP, I wrote the progressions, and I played bass on the album, and did a lot of the directing in the studio. 2 songs were co-writes.
Yeah.
I'm Still in Love with You was a co-write. I wrote it with Matt the first time we hung out, and then Mystery Man is a co-write with an old friend, CJ.
Oh, great song.
And so I had time to go into the studio. I was going to meet Steve Christensen, who has recorded everything I've done pretty much. And
here in Houston?
Here in Houston.
Oh, wow.
And then COVID hit, and I was like, and at the time, McCullough Ferguson was in my band. And I asked him if he wanted to come to the studio with us, but his wife is a surgeon, like in a hospital.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, dog, I'm not going in public. Like, I'm not doing that. We don't know anything about this virus. My wife's a surgeon. Not good. So I ended up calling CJ and asking CJ if they would just like quickly, you know, come learn the songs and come to the studio. And it all was kind of a whirlwind. We recorded 6 songs in 2 days.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And then we did, I want to say like 3 days of overdubs. Some were immediate, some were several months later.
Yeah. That's a lot of work to record 6 songs in 1 day, or in 2 days. In 2 days, that's like almost taking it back to like, I mean, the Beatles recorded their first album, their entire first album, like in like a 3-4 day span, and like, you know, not saying anything, but like that's a very, very difficult like feat to accomplish.
It was extremely hard. CJ
Stressful.
was like, those were the best days of my life. Like I remember every moment, and I was like, what? Because I felt like I was losing my mind. But it's hard when your songs are a big part of you and you're getting them ready to, you know, give to everybody else. And it's psychologically like very challenging. Those songs weren't that personal, but I really felt that doing this album because these songs are very personal. And I was like on the brink of a breakdown by day 3, just having to. We did 7 days
Of this new album.
Of this new album.
Yeah, the new album.
It's so hard doing the studio like consecutive days like that.
Yeah, no, it really is. It's something that really bears like on the soul, on the mind, especially because, you know, we have outside lives and we're not just like, oh, studio musicians only.
Yeah.
So we do have to bear with like the brunt of, you know, other things that come along with it. All right, and we're going to take a quick break and we will be we're going to take a quick break and we will be right back with you, and we will hear more from Marley Moon talking about her new and upcoming album, Everything Is Real, due out October 21st. Lorenzo, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Michael. How you been, man?
I've been doing good. I'm just really excited for that Marley Moon show. What are you gonna get today?
Oh, I'm gonna just get cheesesteak, no onions.
Cheesesteak, no onions. All right, nice. I'll have that ready for you in a few seconds.
All right, thanks, Michael.
Cheesesteak, no onions. Thank you so much, Lorenzo. It was really good seeing you.
Hey, it was really good to see you again too, Michael. But real quick before I head out, tell me about that Marley Moon show.
Yeah, Marley Moon. She's coming out with her new album, Everything Is Real, October 21st. And October 22nd, she'll be having her album release party and a pajama party at 3534 Navigation Boulevard, which is also the headquarters of Monkey Power Records. She's going to be playing live with Texture Yellow and Acid Carousel with doors opening at 7 p.m. Hey Lorenzo, you lost your wallet! Ooh, Lorenzo, man, you're gonna need this. There's a $15 cover at the door.
Sure, man. I'll see you there, Michael.
Alright, look forward to seeing you there. And we're back here at Axelrad live with Marley Moon. And so in this segment, we're going to go over her new album, Everything Is Real, coming out on every single platform. Am I right about that? Every platform, on all platforms, October 21st. And this is an album that I was lucky enough to hear. I reached out to Marley Moon and said, Marley Moon, I kind of want to interview you and about the new album. Would you mind sending me these songs? And in the past, that was about like 2 weeks ago. And in the past 2 weeks, you know, I was kind of going through my own things. I had some of those drunken nights where maybe I said the wrong thing and forgot about it, and someone had to remind me what I said the next day. And you know, this album is something that really like helped me get out of like a lot of major things in just 2 weeks that a human being can go through. So in what, 14 songs?
11.
11 songs, yeah. Just covered every single emotion that I had over the course of 2 weeks and really made me feel better and even helped me grow a little bit. So, Marley Moon, if you don't mind, I'm just going to ask you to just, share a memory that you have with us about every song off the album, starting with the first one, I Want to Feel Alive.
I Want to Feel Alive is... That song is first because I had this idea of putting the last page of the book at the beginning. Like you read the end and then you get to the story. So I Want to Feel Alive is this sort of declaration of like, okay, I kind of feel like shit. I'm kind of not acting right. I don't really understand who I am altogether, but I'm okay with that and I just want to change and be happy. And it's a song that's really meaningful to me, because it can be really hard to be honest, and I feel like I was really able to tap into that when I wrote that song.
Oh, that's good. Thank you for sharing that with us. I know like sometimes being a songwriter is like, feels like the most vulnerable like thing ever, especially when it comes time to like share it. And like even, you telling us this it means a lot. So thank you so much. And what about Sister?
So Sister is a song for my sister. And it's one of the singles that's already out. This song is basically about feeling like I'm alone and looking at how my life has sort of crushed me, but I always have my sister, and having a sister is such a special experience. I don't know if anyone who is not just a girl with a sister can really understand, but it's so special, the bond between sisters, and like I'm really grateful that I have her, and so that's what that song is.
That's good. I know it's about like two sisters, but even me, I have a sister, and that song like it even speaks to like all audiences really who just like have sisters. I like that one line. I come to you feeling like a sociopath, or what is it?
I'll tell her I'm afraid of being sociopathic, and she'll tell me I'm being dramatic, and I'll believe her.
I love that because I feel like that's anybody with a sister has been through that. Definitely. All right, going on. What about Doors? Next song on the album.
So Doors is a song I wrote like right at the beginning of lockdown. And there was someone from my past who, we don't talk for a lot of reasons, but he had reached out to me pretty late in the evening, and, I still had a really big soft spot in my heart for him. So when he did that, I was like, oh my God, it's him. And then he was like, never mind. And I was like, and so that song is about how I just feel like almost haunted by his presence in my spirit.
That's very real stuff. That's very real emotions, and it definitely does come through in the songs. Tell us about Psychopomp song, the Interlude.
Okay, so Psychopomp song is about the same guy.
Yeah.
Because I went to Austin with my sister last September to see Krungbin. So fun. And when I was there, I hadn't drank in like 2.5 months, and that guy had been looking at my Instagram stories like from a second account, and I was kind of drunk, and I was like, whatever, and I just messaged him. I was like, why are you looking at my account? And then I found out he lived in Austin. I didn't know where he lived. I didn't know if he was still in Boston. I didn't know what was going on. Found out he was in Austin. I was like, please see me. And he was like, no. And I was like, fuck. So a psychopomp is like an entity that leads you into the afterlife, like the Grim Reaper. And so that song it's just an interlude. It's very short. It's just like, okay, well, I guess I'll probably still think about this when I'm dead.
But it does have some really good, beautiful background vocals.
Thank you.
Yes. And, oh my gosh, one of my favorite songs. I can't help myself. Tell us about that one.
Okay, that song I wrote probably the week that I was diagnosed with OCD. Because, that whole experience was really bad. There was the moments leading up to even bringing it up to my therapist where I was like, oh my God, this is what's wrong with me. And then there was, yes, I do think that is what's wrong with you, which was like really heartbreaking. And I was looking more into OCD because, I didn't want to be suffering like that anymore. And I was looking at where it was affecting me beyond the normal, like, getting up 40 times a night to check my locks and, like, tippy-tappy everything. Like, it was beyond that because in the relationship that I had been in, at this point, I was in a different relationship, but like the one before that, I had been a little crazy. But I didn't know what was wrong with me. I had no idea. And that song is like about how my OCD affected that relationship. It's about like, I felt like I had to go through his phone, or like someone in my family was gonna die, or I was gonna haunt timelines, or like if I got stuck at a red light on the way to our apartment, that was going to be the reason I didn't catch him cheating. Like, it was fucking hell, and I made it his hell too. And I feel really bad about that still to this day, even though we're cool now. But that song is about just being like a crazy broad in that relationship, because I just had totally unchecked OCD.
Listening to that song, I wouldn't have like gotten that from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. I love that song. And let's do... Oh my gosh. This song is a great song. It's going to be, everyone is going to have this song in their brain, literally. And, the first lyrics of it, they play out the rest of the song. It's, do you want to see a magic trick? Tell us about that. Tell us about the magic trick.
So that song was just like a silly little thing. It just happened. I had been teaching a guitar lesson, and in that lesson, I had my shit muted, and I was going da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. I just opened up Logic because I already had all my shit plugged in to teach my lesson, and it just kind of spiraled out of control and turned into that song. There's like no real meaning.
Yeah, I love that song. Everyone's gonna love that song.
Thank you. I love that one too.
Yeah, it's definitely like the turning point of the album. Like starts there.
Yeah.
Followed by Time Machine. Tell us about that one. Tell us about... Well, just tell us about it.
Okay. Time Machine is a song about how it's like if I had a time machine, then maybe I wouldn't be so traumatized by my life. I wrote it, sort of about my childhood, sort of about this like really chaotic acid trip that just was not good, traumatizing for all involved sort of situation. That one's heavy.
Yeah.
It's about feeling like just the weight of everything you've been through making you miserable, and you like don't know what to do about it. It's like life goes in a circle.
If I had a time machine,
not a good way.
If I had a time machine, I'd never wake up with a bad dream.
Yeah, if I had a time machine, I wouldn't have bad dreams.
I wouldn't have a bad dream. Oh.
Or if I had a time machine, I'd make my mind squeaky clean.
Sweet, my mind squeaky clean, exactly. It's a beautiful song.
Thank you. My therapist likes that one.
Yeah, everyone's gonna like this one. And then from there we go into the Oh How Nice intermission.
Okay, so...
And yeah, you told me about this one.
Yeah, so that one I really like. The instruments and then the part at the end where I'm singing, I had just had that in my laptop for so long, and I had started it when I was with my ex, and I had this moment where I was like, oh, forever might be nice, and then I very quickly was like, never mind. And so I just never had the spirit to like finish anything else because I just didn't even feel that way. And I still liked the motif, I still liked the song, it just was empty. Kendrick and I were working on a demo EP, and we wanted this one on there, so we started going through all of my voicemails, trying to find something that would fit in this one section right before I start singing. And I ended up finding, for a while I carried around a little cassette player, and I would ask people at my shows to tell me a story. And there was this guy that I liked. We had gone on a date that week, and he came to my show at Wonky Power last year. And after my set, I got out my little cassette recorder, and I was like, tell me a story. And he fucking told me a story about going to jail. And then I was like, okay, tell me a better, nice story. And he told me this very nice story about a sunset.
The sunset at Torrey Pines.
Yeah, and it fit that little section so perfectly. And I texted him, I asked, can I sample you for my record? He was like, yes. And I'm very grateful because I really like that song.
It's a beautiful song, and I'm telling you, seeing the sunset at Torrey Pines over the cliffs. It is very, very beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah. If you get a chance, listen to it. Listen to like that tiny little clip in the part there, and you'll hear what he's talking about. And after the intermission, we get. I've already said we got to the turning point of the album, but we get to a point in the album where really like. I believe like this album becomes cemented as a classic album because of the last 3 songs that you.
It's the ache of the album.
Yeah, you chose to put these just perfectly, just how they're laid out, and I love how you kept your first single that you released for for one of the last songs of the album. I think it was a really good strategy. It's really good for the album.
Thank you.
It plays through. But having said all of that, tell us about Close to You.
So. Once upon a time, Little Miss Madison got extremely, extremely wasted at the Thundercat concert. Now, for a little background on this story, I had just gotten out of a very crazy relationship, which we'll get to on the next track. And I was just like, not necessarily wanting a relationship, but I just wanted to have like some sort of connection with a man that didn't also make me feel really anxious. And so I connected with this guy. It was really nice. I felt really comfortable with him. He was very stable and very steady, and I felt really comforted by his presence. And I like struggled a lot kind of to accept that it was chill. And so at the Thundercat concert, Madison got way too fucking drunk, and Madison acted a damn fool, like so crazy. And then the next day, I texted him and I was like, hey, I was really drunk last night. And he said, yeah, you were, LOL. And I was like, I feel like I blew it. And he was like, yeah, I don't think we should see each other anymore.
Oh, no.
And I was like, shit, like, this was so chill, what'd I do? And then I genuinely didn't know what I did. I was hungover for 2 days because I was so hammered.
Oh, no.
And then when I finally wasn't hungover, I just sat down at my laptop and that song came out. And it's like, there's a lot of, I think, back and forth in the lyrics because as I'm writing it, I'm going through the motions of like, well, maybe this happened. Well, maybe it was this. Like, I just don't know though.
And it's a great, great song.
Thank you.
It'll make anybody who's like having the best day remember, that one time. Like, there are songs that just like recall human emotions, and this is one of those songs. You'd be feeling any way. Listen to that song and just be put in that moment, especially at the end of the song. It just it gets so intimate. It feels like you're right there in front of the listener, and that's the part where tears will roll down the listener's eye.
There was a lot of tears in the studio when we brought that file over from Kendrick and I were working. It was for the demo EP, and then I was playing guitar. He had a nylon string in his apartment, and I was singing it, and at that point I hadn't heard it with just me and a guitar, because I write my songs at a computer. And the song stopped, and I was singing it with just the guitar, and it was heart-wrenching, because I was still, like, completely gutted. Like, I was embarrassed, I was ashamed, and also, like, I missed him, And Kendrick was like, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna record, so just keep playing. And I think as soon as he turned the recording off, I just started crying, and we were done working for the day. But there was no way we could recreate that, so it came straight from Kendrick's apartment. Yeah.
From that demo. Oh, that's amazing. And from there, we have the first single off the album, I'm Right.
Yes. So I'm Right was a song I wrote like, I don't know, less than a week after me and my ex broke up. I was having so many like complicated emotions about it because I knew I didn't want to be in that relationship for so long because I was just not happy. I didn't feel safe. And it was like really powerful for me to like finally have the moment where I was like, I gotta end this. So I wasn't like heartbroken or really that sad, but I had all these feelings I couldn't understand. And I think when I sat down to write I'm Right, I was feeling like just frustrated. And we bonded a lot over music. That's why that first line is, you're in every song I know.
Yes.
At that time I had a lot of songs about him that I didn't think they were good enough for the album, so no one will ever hear them. But that song is another one that kind of goes like this, because as I'm writing the song, I'm going through so many complicated emotions that I feel like I hit this weird, kind of almost contradictory way in my emotions. Towards the end, I got angry, and I feel like you can tell. But his problem with me, he said, one of his problems with me was that I always think I'm right.
Oh.
And so the end of the song is being, I'm right. It's like kind of me being shitty, but like, I don't really care that much.
Oh.
Sorry.
That's okay. Hey, but you know, contradiction in songs, I think is like very beautiful, and that actually works most of the time.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the time. And now, Void Song. And I'm gonna say something real quick. I know we gotta wrap things up, but Void Song, a lot of times, people's favorite songs of the album, the best songs of the album, or like the song that, you know, brings the album all together, you know, should be the last song of the album. A lot of my favorite songs on a lot of really great albums is the last song, and this is another song that, you know, it really encompassed the entire album together, brought it all together. The mood of every song is in Void Song, and, you know, when everyone gets to hear this album, y'all will understand what I'm saying, but it's one of the greatest endings to an album, I believe, and so tell us about that one.
So Void Song is the beginning of the story. So if you were to flip Void Song and I Want to Feel Alive, you would pretty much get a consistent story, but I wanted them swapped. Void Song, you get to like where I started on this album. I wrote it, I never thought that it would go anywhere. I wrote it pretty early in lockdown. I had just come down from an acid trip, and I hadn't taken acid since I'd been at Berkeley, and I had this moment where I was sitting there on my couch, and I had called my friend Farah over to like watch me because I was starting to freak out, like nothing bad was happening, but I was like, I don't know myself, I need somebody to come over here and like know me. And I just had this moment where I was like, oh my god, I'm so not healed from what I went through at Berkeley, like psychologically, spiritually, you know, emotionally. Like, I was in a really dark place when I was there, and I just ran. And I realized 2 years later that I just still felt this huge, massive void inside of me, and it was aching. And I didn't touch the song for a long time. I showed it to Matt when he got here to record the album, and he was like, dude, we should kind of put a country spin on this, and like, we should record it. And it ended up being everyone's favorite. Like, we went live on Instagram when we recorded the take that's on the album.
Oh, wow.
And you can like, I'm laughing at the start of the video. You can just feel how happy we all are, even though you can only see me. And it was the song that we worked on last. The oohs were the very last thing we did before we wrapped all of our studio time. Matt fell to the floor crying. It's just like, I don't know. It's a really special song to me. It's just like, I don't know who I am. And that's fucking that. Like, there's hope sonically, but lyrically, not so much.
Alright, now I know we gotta wrap things up here, because we got an open mic to go to, but Marley Moon, thank you so much for doing this little interview with me. I know the masses are gonna love it. They're gonna appreciate everything that you have to say. They're gonna appreciate you just spilling your heart out to us, not just with the interview, but with, first and foremost, the album. And this, like I've said it so many times, it's an amazing album. Everyone is really gonna love it. She put her heart and her soul into it, and it really comes through. But thank y'all so much. I think we're gonna try to get a little performance just to cap things off, so y'all enjoy. Woo!
We are having the release show at Wonky Power, who powers this open mic that you're at right now, at Wonky Power headquarters, October 22nd. It's a pajama party, so wear pajamas, please, or sweats, whatever. Just be comfy. Don't try to look cool. That'd be missing the point of the album completely. This song is called Void Song. Follow me online if you want to know about the release show and the album.
You
21st. Pre-save it. Follow me on Instagram. Come to my show. Up first is River.